Hey, and welcome to another 10 Commandments for Your Mind segment. Here, we're going to go ahead and talk about the fifth commandment, which is thou should train your mind. Okay, so far, I've been telling you that you have a mind. You should build a relationship with your mind. It's your mind, and you're the writer of your mind. You're the thinker behind your mind. And I've been also saying to you that you are the guardian, the protector of your mind. And so all of this, I've been sharing with you that our mind is like a wild horse, and it likes to go and move and pursue the environment around it. Our mind likes to think. So you can now train your mind or train your horse to think what you want it to. So what should you train your mind with? Okay, well, you already probably have trained your mind with certain activities or certain habits. When we were young, we learned how to brush our teeth. Think about it now. Do you think about the movement behind brushing your teeth? Not really, right? Because you've already trained your mind with it. How about learning how to use a computer? Well, maybe when it was your first few times, you had to learn how to think about the keyboard, how to use the mouse. But over time, you were able to do it without thinking about it very much because you already trained your mind about it. Any sports that maybe you do, initially you had to train your mind to consider the movements, but eventually you no longer had to focus on training your mind because your mind picked it up. And that's what I mean by go ahead and train your mind. Go ahead and consider the habits, the activities you are teaching your mind. Now, it's very possible that you have trained your mind with bad habits or bad behavior or bad activities throughout this life that you probably learned when you were young or a while ago, and you recognize that it's bad for you. You recognize that it is a bad behavior, that it's not very productive, or it brings out the negative in you, right? But the best part is you can train your mind to walk away from those habits, to stop those behaviors. That is the beauty of the 10 Commandments for your mind. That is the beauty of having a relationship with your mind, that you can reconsider and train your mind again to walk away from those habits, to stop those habits or those behaviors. You can train and recreate a better relationship with your mind, with your horse. Now consider the idea of positive thinking, right? I've been saying to you that our mind is the source of all our thoughts. And if you begin to train your mind on how to positively think, in telling yourself, I think I can, I think I should, I think I'll be able to, instead of saying I suck, or instead of saying, oh, it's not even worth it. If you take that time to train your mind on positive thinking, you are training your mind to benefit you. And that is one of the beauties I hope you begin to see with the 10 Commandments for your mind, is when you begin to create a relationship with your mind, when you begin to train your mind, you will see that it will have benefits to your life. It will help you face challenges that you maybe had doubts about before, but because you have been practicing and creating this relationship with your mind, you'll be able to successfully conquer some of these challenges or face these challenges, and then you'll be able to see the benefits of having a relationship with your mind. Learning to train your mind does or will give you solutions that will benefit your life. Now I'm going to go ahead and share with you a cultural reference that I could think about that helps best demonstrate the power and benefit of creating or training your mind. Here I'm going to go ahead and share with you the story of Sheetal Devi. Sheetal Devi is an Indian para-archer athlete. She recently represented India in an Asian sporting event, and she was a champion. And her story is beautiful in that she is a para-archer, meaning when she came into this life, she was born without any upper limbs. So growing up, Sheetal Devi knew that she was different, right? Because she had no upper limbs. All she had were the lower ones, and she could see that she was different from everybody else. So she was, in a way, forced to build a relationship with her mind. And what she would do is she would brush her teeth using her feet. She would comb her hair. She would do the daily activities that we do with our hands. She would do it with her feet. And that was her reality. She trained her mind from a young age to utilize her lower limbs to do activities that our upper limbs usually does. Okay? So a part of when she was in her high school, she went to a neighboring military event, and she saw the sport of archery, you know, the bow and arrow archery, and she expressed interest. And fortunately, the coaches were able to see her confidence, her determination, and considered her as an athlete. And what her coach said was, because she had already trained her mind to use the lower limbs, all she had to do was train her mind again to teach a new activity, which was utilize a bow and arrow, but now with her lower limbs. But she already knew how to use her lower limbs for activities that we use using our upper limbs. So all she had to do was utilize her mind and train this new activity. And she went on to, within 1 year, they say, she went on to represent India on a national level and then win championships along the way. The beauty in Sheetal Devi's story is that she had a relationship with the mind, and she took that training that she had given her mind on using the lower limbs to benefit in other avenues. And that is what I wanted to show with the 10 Commandments for your mind, is once you create that relationship, once you recognize you have a relationship, once you begin to be the guardian, once you recognize it's you that's the one that has a relationship with your mind, with your horse, right? You will see that training your mind will have such benefits that once you have that connection, once you intentionally build that connection, it will allow you to benefit in other avenues. Sheetal Devi, growing up, 8 years old, 9 years old, she had no idea that she would be a para-archer champion. All she would do was teach herself to use the lower limbs for activities that others were using with their upper limbs. That's all she did. And she was determined. She was determined to be of this nature. And it ended up benefiting her, being a 16-year-old, 17-year-old world champion in para-archery, which I doubt the 8-year-old Sheetal Devi would have ever known about. Now, if you consider the image behind me, you will see that the rider is focused, is training its horse with an intent. Now that you know the 10 Commandments for your mind, and you know that this is the 5th commandment, which is go ahead and train your mind, you can now consider all the habits that you want to train yourself, all the thoughts that you want to teach yourself, whether it's learning a new computer programming language, whether it's learning a new sport, whether it's learning a new skill. And if you give it that focus, right? If you give it that attention that this rider is giving its horse, you can train your mind. You can train your horse to develop that skill, to develop that habit, to develop that way of thinking and face the challenges. Want more of Preach with Prag? How about you go ahead and subscribe to our Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprag.com. Here I'll provide you a weekly message to guide you throughout the week and check in with you with a wellness questionnaire. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe to Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprag.com.